Thank you for meeting with us again, Dr. Ziegler. It's nice to see you.
It's good to see you again, Neena.
All right, so it's the last day of the semester. How do you think the school year has gone so far?
I think this school year has been fantastic. It was hard for students and teachers to come back, after so much time in either hybrid or distance learning. But by and large, our students have done a fantastic job. We've had some complaints, both from students and staff and community about our mitigation methods. But one thing I'm really proud of in Loudoun County is that we have adhered to our mitigation efforts, which has allowed us to keep schools open. We haven't had one school that's gone back to distance learning, which is unusual. In Loudoun County, a lot of the private schools had to go back to distance learning. Some of the other school divisions in Virginia had to go to distance learning. But in Loudoun County, we've been able to stay open for 5 days a week of instruction for the entire year.
Would you say that you're making headway on some of the short and long-term goals that you set at the beginning of the year?
We are making fantastic headway on some of those goals. So I think one of the things we talked about last time was expanded opportunity across Loudoun County. So we talked about that we have the academies of Loudoun and we have the tech center over there. But we don't have anything really beyond that. And so if you apply to the academy and you get in, great. If you don't, there's not really anywhere else for you to go. So over the past 6 months, administration and the school board have worked together to put together policy that will allow us that does the foundational work so that now schools can apply to have academies, career academies and interest academies in their buildings. So we are also in the process of having applications for 2 sites of International Baccalaureate program that will start in 23-24. So it's a 2-year application process. We're about finished with the first year of the application process, and then we're going to dive into the second year and select some sites, and so students will be able to take care of that. In this year's budget, we've also got some foundational things for foreign language study to return to the elementary schools. Now the budget hasn't been approved yet, so it's all on the school board on the 2nd. But we are confident that they will put some of these things through to expand opportunity. I think the other thing we talked about back in August was student mental health, and we are very excited. We have about $600,000 in the budget going to student mental health, and provided the board passes it and the funding stays through the whole budget process, we will be probably the only school division in the country that is providing therapeutic mental health to students for no charge. And that is something unheard of. So in schools, we have trusted adults and we have guidance counselors and social workers and school psychologists. But their license doesn't allow them to do therapeutic counseling with students. So they can offer help and they can offer referrals. But this will be a way for students who need help and to get it quickly and for no charge to their families. We're very excited about that.
I think us as students can all appreciate that, so that's exciting. You mentioned the job that LCPS has done in terms of mitigation. If you had to, what grade would you give LCPS in terms of that?
Oh, I would give us an A+. So like today I came into Dominion. The last week has been a week of mask controversy all across the Commonwealth. But when I talked to Dr. Brewer, he said we have had 0 refusals for the mask mandate. And I think the majority of our schools are having that same response. When I go to schools now, I ask principals to bring together a group of student leaders. And so at elementary schools, sometimes they bring all 5th graders, and sometimes they bring a leader from each grade level. And I was at an elementary school the week before last and asked them the question, how do you all feel about masks? And even the 2nd grade leader who was in there said, well, I don't like them, but I'd rather be with my friends, and I know the mask helped keep us safe. So I'd rather keep it on than take it off and have to go back to distance learning. So I give our students an A+ in that area.
If COVID cases in LCPS were to decrease, would the masking requirements for students be revisited?
We're always revisiting all of our mitigation efforts. So we actually were very close to making mask optional in August, the last time that we talked. And then what happened, I had a plan. It never got published, but we did have a plan for going mask optional and a way to bring them back based on community stats, percent positivity and number of new cases. But then what happened is the Delta variant happened. And so when the Delta variant happened, we saw in August, September, October trending up because of the Delta variant. And so to keep students and staff safe, the mask mandate had to stay in place. There also was in August 2 things that happened. One was the Virginia legislature passed, it was called back then Senate Bill 1303, and some people still call it that. But in the code, it's now Chapter 456 of the Code of Virginia. And what that says is that schools have to be open for instruction 5 days a week, and that we are required to follow the guidelines or the requirements of the CDC as far as mitigation efforts. So one of the mitigation efforts from the CDC is masking, physical distancing to the extent possible, hand washing, staying home when you're sick. It's a layered approach. And so that happened in August, and then also in August, the Virginia Health Commissioner issued an order that said students and staff had to wear a mask in school. So we weren't able to go then, but I don't think masks are going to be here forever. When I talked to Dr. Goodfriend, who is the Loudoun County Health Director, he tells me that the Omicron variant should be going on a downward trend, and we're seeing that. You all know that you had a ton of substitutes for the first part of January, and now we're seeing the need for subs starting to drop off and attendance going back up. I don't know if you noticed or not, but also during January, student attendance was lower. So as a division, we usually run about 97 or 98% of our students are here on any given day. During January so far, we've been down like below 95% as a division. So Omicron has hit a lot of our families. But as that subsides and as community transmission subsides, if there's no other variants and no other spikes, I think we would probably be at a place in the spring when masks can become optional.
So have there been any discussions about adding the COVID vaccine to the list of mandatory immunizations and vaccinations to be a student here?
So it's not something we discuss at the local level. We encourage everybody age 5 and up to get their vaccines, and if you're eligible for a booster, to get your booster. I have an appointment for my booster tonight. So we encourage vaccines, but any requirements like that would need to be added at the state level.